Greetings and salutations. Welcome. I don't know if I can be heard because I have an earphone I'm using. So, and I am flying half staff for a little bit. So, if somebody can just let me know that you can hear me. And we will get started. I'm going to post. All right, cool. Abu Cruz in the building. Blessing love, brother. Blessing love. Uh, all right, so let's just go ahead. Let me get started, and then if y'all can hear me, great. If you can't hear me, somebody will come in and let me know at some point, and then we'll just rock out like that. All right, here we go. So this book. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Shouts out to the Most High, because you know how we get it, and nothing get done without him. And shouts out to Chief, one who put the book together, one who gives his time, energy, and effort, man. AKA Chiefzilla, AKA Cyclops, AKA you already know what the deal is, huh? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read the preface, and then we'll jump into it. This book is not to be read only once. Read the words of this book of knowledge and wisdom out loud. Discuss the convictions of this work with your Anu brothers and sisters. Share this information. I don't even know if you, this information with your people. This publication should be read daily. Every line in this book can be taken out of context and studied on the strength of its own potential. The truth is to be deliberated. And right now, it looks like I'm going to be deliberating with myself. Somebody says, I guess, well, we'll just, I'm just going to talk then, and we're going to make it do what it do. Okay, thank you kindly. I was about to say good night. All right, thank you, Sister Deidre. Yeah. All right, peace, Emanaya, and peace to the Akilo.
Hey, what's up with you, bro?
All right. Oh, this thing ain't working then, so screw it. All right.
All right.
How you living?
Oh man, already, can't call it, already
Okay.
moving,
Already. Rock steady. Well, I've read the preface. We already we got top tier speakers in the building. What it do? Peace, Sovereign Eats. What it do?
What's up, Witty?
Yeah, know what I'm saying? Let's get it up. All right. So we are going to jump in. Well, first, I said, what comes to mind when you hear the word poverty? That's what we want to. That's what we're gonna start with. That's what we're gonna vibe with, and then we just gonna go wherever it goes. Mm-hmm. So when you hear the word poverty, Akilo, tell me what's the first thing that, and I'm talking about before you awoke. All right, y'all. Before y'all were enlightened. All right, for all of that. Tell me what was it? What's this word poverty mean?
Man, poverty is worse than po. You know what I'm saying? Poverty is worse than po. Like, well, if you like ever visit like family members and you see like they live in, public housing or whatever, and or something like that, you be like, man, this is poverty. You be exposed to things that you ain't never seen before. Like well, I remember one time we were outside and the girls pass around and talking. They talk about what they were doing that night, you be like, or something like that, or just broken glass everywhere, like for real, like broken glass everywhere, dilapidated playgrounds, just oh man, a lot of things. It's different in various parts of the world, but it's also a mindset, because you can have people that don't have a lot, but then they're completely happy and they're completely sane, but it's also like, usually for us, it, like you said, when I wasn't woke, it was just not having a lot, or not even having a lot at all, what I'm talking about, or whatever, and then you have to scrimp and save and do whatever you got to do just to survive the next day, day by day, what I'm talking about, and things like that. Yeah, you ain't going to Whole Foods. You going to that
Dollar
ain't
Tree,
in your
big
budget.
job.
That ain't in your budget. You know what I'm talking about.
Yo, so before we go on, let me go on. Brother Raw, Shabbat Shalom to you. Yeah. Shabbat Shalom, YG Gutter.
You know what I'm talking about.
YG Gutter. You know what I'm saying? Emma Precious, peace. Softa Arlene, Shabbat Shalom, peace. And everybody else who comes into space. So the first thing that comes to mind when I hear poverty is you ain't got no money. Like, you just ain't got no money, man. If you're not, if you don't want to be in poverty, if you don't want to be in poverty, then just get some money, get some dough, get some ducats, get some cheese, some bread. Man. Like, that's all you need. At least that's what I thought, right? Even if you look at the news, or you look at any other type of outlet that'll start to give you different classes. If you're poverty, and then they'll put in, this is how much money somebody below the poverty line makes. This is how much money somebody above poverty line makes. This is what well-off people or wealthy people make, right? And there's different levels to it that now puts a dollar amount on it. So if there's a dollar amount on it, then it must be money there, right? So that's what I'm thinking is, as long as I have money, I won't be in poverty. At least that's where I was at.
But it can also be just how you look. You know what I'm saying? You look impoverished. I mean, wearing stretched out dirty t-shirts and dirty shoes, or you can't afford to buy a PlayStation 5, so you got like a third generation console, and you getting the value for less video games at GameStop. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got the the official controller. You got the you got the knockoff brands. You know what I'm talking about? So it could be how you look. But yeah, it's usually money, but it's also money. And culturally, it could be culturally. There's just some. I just think about that because there was just some neighborhoods where you was just like, don't go over there. Them over there. No. Like when I went to when I went to Lawndale, the West Side, for the first time, and I was just looking at all the buildings and the houses and everything. I was like, this is really poverty. This is, I done seen poverty before, but this is like really it. Like, I ain't never seen nothing like this before. Going past this part, I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Never. But yeah, it's usually equated to a dollar sign. Also education, educational systems, public schools and things like that. you know, oh, you went to a public school, you went to this such school. Yeah, you know. So we ain't gonna even call it education. We just call it training, public training. You know what I'm saying? Quality public training. You know. But
right.
yeah, man.
So peace to the chief in the building.
Already, you know, peace,
You
chief.
know,
You
but
know.
even when you just said that though, it even made me start thinking like, okay, you're looking at somebody's clothes, you're looking at somebody like money. If you're in poverty, you don't have any money, and you are appraising somebody in a sense by just what they have on. Like, oh, okay, he ain't got no money. Don't worry about it. Like even looking at somebody's shoes or whatever. Oh, they ain't got no money. Look at their shirt. They ain't got no. Oh, you eating top ramen? I ain't got no money, right? Like you should be eating tartar and all of this other stuff that people put on TV saying that this is what the rich people eat. At least that's what came to mind. And then if somebody had, you know, one of them jump in with the belly, with the hand maybe doing a layup instead of a dunk, and like what are those, right? And I was like, oh man, this dude Poe. And as long as now you can look to par, or if you can at least show off, which you see a lot of now, is like as long as I can show off or at least feel like I'm part of this rich society or rich club, then I won't be impoverished, right? So we got a couple answers, and then we just gonna vibe out. And we got Emma Precious says, when I hear the word poverty, the idea of lack, scarcity, and no community, family comes to mind. Poverty in thought and action as well. All right. Maybe I should have put in there before you awoke again.
My name is Precious.
Now, all right. Top tier speakers. I think a poor person, someone who does that bare minimum in all that they do. Right. All right. And you know what? One of the things that come to mind, even when, and I think it's willfully everybody has had a chance to listen to the podcast that Chief did on The One. And when I tell you he's the king of examples, he's the king of examples, man. Right? He's the king of examples. Because it even starts to now correlate with what we're talking about right now. And when one even starts to make a thought of, oh, it's equated to a dollar sign. And he was saying, you know, in the beginning of, well, if I was to negotiate getting a job or something along those lines, and you were saying that, all right, I'll pay you 3 digits. And we're like, well, what are we talking about? 3 digits, you know, for the day, 3 digits for strong, 3 digits for whatever the case. Okay, that's not going to be enough. All right, 4 digits. Now we talking, is that, you know, every 2 strongs or whatever the case. Oh, you know, I'll pay you 5 digits. Well, long story short, get to 7 digits. And once he got to 7 digits, someone was like, oh, that's way more than what I was expecting, right? That's way more than what I thought that you were going to give me. And then HR sends you your paperwork and say, here you go. But then all of a sudden you get 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, whatever I'm not counting in my head. And you got 7 digits, but all of them are 0. Hold up. Right. Hold up. That's not what I thought I had, right? That's not what I thought we negotiated. We're like, well, we never said the number. You just said the digits, and the digits match what we just said. Now, even if you put the 0, 0, 0, 0 at 1 at the end of it, it still is not equating to anything. It's not until the 1 is put at the front that now everything else now gives it significance and meaning that comes behind it, right? And when I heard that, and flowing off of what we're talking about tonight of being impoverished, is now, does one have knowledge of self? Do you know who and what you are? And it's only until one knows who and what they are that now everything has meaning and value behind it.
Yeah.
If you go ahead.
No. Keep on flowing.
You just go ahead, brother.
Well, it made me think of, when you talked about knowledge of self, it made me think of, realistically or historically, with indigenous cultures, and then they meet, Europeans, and then, they may have had knowledge of self or anything, but then they equate themselves to what these foreigners have. And then they look at themselves as being poor and impoverished when they never saw themselves as that before. It made me think of this movie I used to love called Warriors of the Rainbow, and he's talking with one of the youth, about the Japanese. You know what I'm saying? Because they're tribal people, and indigenous tribal people out of Taiwan, and they are on the Japanese occupation, right? And he was like, there was a time when we didn't think of ourselves as poor. Now, because we are equating ourselves to what they have, now we see ourselves as poor and impoverished. We never saw ourselves that way. You know what I'm saying? And now look at how we gotta be just because they invaded. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And you see that, because you see how someone other than you live, then you want to live like that. Like we take it here, when the Europeans came, now you want to cook with pots and pans. You know what I'm saying? When you used natural paint, for yourselves, now you want to use their paint. Then you find out that paint is toxic and you ain't supposed to be putting it on your skin, and that's why you dying. You know what I'm saying? Or you only took or hunted with for necessity. But now let me hunt, to trade so I can get, these things they call guns, these muskets, you know what I'm saying? So I can ride on people, or I can stop my enemies from riding on me, It's a lot, but that's what made me also think of not having knowledge of self and being impoverished, or looking or not keeping the knowledge of self that you had about yourself, and then looking to someone else as being the standard of wealth and not being impoverished.
Let's jump into the reading, shall we? That was a great segue. I can do it right there, brother.
All right.
You just said impoverished people are also highly vulnerable to the machinations of individuals who are wealthier than they are. What you just said right there, who are wealthier than they are, which there's a lot to be said about all of, even the use of word wealthy, which even what does that mean? But when somebody is highly vulnerable of not knowing who and what they are, now what you just said of putting paint on their face or doing all of these different things now to make them feel like they were less than, like, so now whatever somebody conjures up in their head and says now that this is what the standard is, or this is what everybody should be doing, now people are trying to change into morph into what that is. And now whatever it is, and then it's like, okay, here's what's next, here's what's next, here's what's next. And not knowing who and what they are, and not having knowledge of self, or the one that now with the zeros that come behind it, now it's all the zeros in front. So now it's always empty, but trying to fill up an empty space with what somebody else is just conjuring up. Okay, if you get the Louis and you get the Gucci and you get all of this, you're gonna be that dude.
Gucci flip flops.
You're gonna be that guy. If you live in this certain neighborhood, then you're gonna be that guy. You'll be that family. If you do, and meanwhile, it's always something that's put in front of you to put you on that treadmill just to get you to move it. But meanwhile, somebody is motivated to put you in motion. Somebody is motivated to get you to start running. Somebody is making a profit off of all of this because now you have no knowledge of self, right? And it's just a matter of, can one now slow down and say, hold on, man, let me see what it is so I can start to fight all of this off by now putting the one in front, putting knowledge of self in front so that I know who and what I am, man.
Yeah, man. it reminds me of something my daddy used to always say, man. Every time somebody would greet him, you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" He'd say, "Oh, I'm doing the best I can for Popo." You know, even with your greeting and salutation, that you know, that's what you're gonna say. Oh, we doing the best we can for Popo, you know.
Right.
You know.
And you know, even certain things, I used to say that to Chief all the time, man. When I used to, and he would ask me, "How you doing?" And I'd be like, "Yo, keeping my head above water."
Making a way when you can.
Right? But that's an impoverished mindset. That's an impoverished mindset of being like, I'm just doing the best I can. Or I'm just supposed to be scraping by at the bottom. And he's like, man, you ain't supposed to be keeping your head above water. You're supposed to be walking on water. I'm like, man, that's just in a book, man. Come on.
You must mistake me for Jesus.
Yo, but that's an impoverished mindset. It's poverty. I can't even see anything past what somebody else has now put in front of me. I'm just impoverished. And now and if I can't get it myself, well, now I'm going to turn to robbing. I'm going to turn to pillaging. I'm going to turn to do anything that I can to try to get it because that's what somebody else has put in front of me. And when somebody steps in front of me with wisdom and is going to say, here, you know what? Here's some clear water. I'm going to look at that and say, that ain't clean water. You ain't even supposed to be drinking that, man. Like somebody has now trained me to say, I want the dirty water. And the dirty water actually is rosé. And we supposed to be popping dirty water. And he's like, no, put that down. Come get you something else. And you fight it tooth and nail. Like, nah, I don't want that. I don't want that. Right. And so now I'm so conditioned at this point that you don't even see it. You don't even recognize it. That this poverty mindset is taken over until it's like you just got to get punched in the face sometimes, at least for me, until it's like, ooh, my God. Oh, that even goes back to that habits segment, what Chief did with the dirty habits and being like, until you can get yourself cleaned up from coming outside or doing all these other things, and then you can take a shower and you come smell them clothes that you had on, you be like, that was me smelling like that. That was, yes, that was you. That was you. But again, how do you start to now clean and scrape some of the garbage that's in your mind that's been implanted in there and from since the day you were born? It's like, are you going to now take on are you going to start reading? Are you going to start learning the laws? Are you going to start, which was even said in the show in the one, it's like the law. Are you going to now start the impoverished person? They just eat anything. Now, he didn't say this in there, but but they'll just eat anything when you put it in front of them, right? I don't care if it's a pork chop, pork rib, whatever it is. I'm hungry, man.
Chitlins, hog mouse, ears, cow tongue, squirrel.
Right. But now when you come from a place of abundance, when you come from a place of you don't lack anything, you'll put it in front of you like, nah, man, I'm good. Oh, you too good to eat that? I'm good, man. I don't do that. I'm just coming from a place of starvation where I just gotta eat and I gotta eat whatever it is. Just put a little salt and pepper and some maybe garlic powder on that joint, man, and this joint just
put some seasoned salt on. Seasoned salt,
right?
Help everything.
Just put a little bit on it, a little Lowry on there, and I'm good. But see, that's how that's even at that was in Mary Poppins, I think. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Just a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Yeah, that's medicine. That medicine is killing you, right? But it's sweet. It looks real good, though. It looks real good when you're walking around and you got all of this name brand stuff on, and it looks real good when you're able to drive something foreign, and it looks real good when you're able to live and park in a certain zone and all of that. But who are you? Who are you? There's gonna come a time where you're gonna come face to face with that soul's reflection, and it's gonna ask, "Who are you?" Oh, you don't know? What was all of this stuff for? Then you start to see how really.
Why are you here?
Now
you
have start anything
to learn worth living for.
What poverty is all about. You see what poverty is all about. Good night. All right, we got some comments in here, and then we'll go on. All right, so Emania says, I think someone that looks unkept and dirty, even if they make an effort. Okay. So what does that mean? They need a lineup? You know what I'm saying? Or is that like if they don't have a lineup, then they poverty. You know what I'm saying? All right. We got Chief in here says, I always thought that people who would kill and die over their material possessions were only poor folk. I have seen the wealthy laugh at a car wreck and give up wallets quick when robbed. Easy peasy. Because I know I'm gonna get it, take it. Like you ain't really, I'm gonna tell y'all, it was a guy, and well off. And we were sitting there watching TV, and he looks up and there's like all of these people sitting in traffic and all that. And he's like, look at all those ants. And then just went back to doing what he was doing. And I was like, that's interesting. That's very interesting. And then as the conversation started to progress with some other people that were around, and they started talking about what kind of car that they would like to drive. And it was like, yeah, somebody was like, I'll get this kind of car. And somebody else named out some other kind of car. And then he was like, well, if I owned a car, I would probably get something, but I don't drive. Then it starts to go to, now I'm starting to even think of, when Chief just said, when people willing to die over their material possessions and all, like this, it doesn't mean anything, right? This has no value whatsoever. But because somebody thinks it has value, they're willing to die over it. I'm willing to die over a block. I'm willing to die over a street. But meanwhile, that whole saying of, what if God were one of us? Just a stranger on the bus. You don't know what person really is. When you really swimming in it, you don't know what they look like. You don't know where they at. You could be standing right next to them and just think that, oh yeah, this person just must be Poe. Because he ain't trying to be flashy. He don't got 15 gold chains on or all of this, one that's spinning on his neck, and then they're all matching up here doing like this on the sideline. You don't know. They don't make you sign an in non-disclosure when you come around them because you don't even know you're around them. You don't.
Exactly. It ain't spinning no more. It's a little bit of a choker now. A little bit of a choker. A little bit of, little tight on the neck, now, it don't spin no more. It's a little choky, like females, but you ain't.
All right. I can dig it. Well, I thought sometimes they still got the little.
Oh no, not no more. You gotta watch. It be so tight on the neck. It ain't loose no more. It's just all up here. What you see females wear. That's why used to women wearing chokers, but it is what it is now.
Yeah, and it's choking all of their oxygen to their brain, impoverished. Like, come on, you don't have to. If what's understood doesn't need to be explained. When you know who and what you are, there's an air of confidence that you start to walk with. And I'm good with it. Like I don't need to put on anything. Black t-shirt, black blue jeans. I think even when you start to see people who start to give speeches and all of that of their companies, and there's too much energy, mental energy that goes into trying to put all of these different outfits together. Let me just put up this on because it doesn't.
Something comfortable. Comfortable.
What? Because there's really no value in it. There's no value in it. And what is that? And it even goes back to that V, which it was another show that was done, which is that stake that you drive in the ground. So now it's connecting you from a seen to an unseen. And if there's no connection from that seen to an unseen, then you got to ask yourself how much value is in the things that you're doing. There is no value in that because now you're anchoring yourself to something that's transient. Mm-hmm. But again, it's when you're susceptible to the machinations of somebody else that just made up something that just keeps on rolling. Man. All right, so we're going to keep rolling. I'm going to go to the next one. Poverty is present when there is a lack of resources, good housing, relevant education, genuine healthcare, and a presence of overall human suffering, right? And again, I think that even goes back to when you were saying that one might have had it all until somebody looks over there and says, hold on now, I want what they have. And now when you want what they have, now we're going to start sectioning things off to make you feel like you're really impoverished. So now you got a lack of resources. Now there's a lack of good housing because you gave it up. You gave it up because you took on a mindset. You might have had the vision of a giraffe. Now you take on the mindset and the vision of a turtle. So now all of a sudden, instead of me walking tall, I'm going to take on the vision. Oh, look at all of these challenges and stuff. So now, yeah, you put them in there, and just like you would do any animal that you would take out of the wild and you will put it in a zoo, now all of a sudden it's contained, and now it doesn't know how to think for itself. It doesn't know how to hunt for itself. It doesn't even know how to relate to one another properly, because now it's in this design cage, in this design box that now starts to manipulate the consciousness of it. There was even I think what's the book called? Mega Brain. And in the book Mega Brain, it was something that when they had the mouse and a bunch of different mice that were in this little area, and they put one that was in like a less than favorable area that ultimately it had to fight for everything, it had to do all, and then they put another one in an area where it could like run on a wheel, and it had space, and it was doing all of that, right? They weighed the brains of the two, and one of it had like 15% more gray matter or something along those lines in the brain than the one that was in the non-favorable. Then what they ended up doing too, though, was they took some of them out of the containment that was impoverished per se, and put it in a different environment, and what they saw was the gray matter begin to increase. So I'm only saying that to say is when people start to say this whole thing of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yes, you can. Right? It's never too late. Like you can. It's just a matter of, do you want to stop reading the old garbage and watching the old garbage and doing the old things that you did, and do you want to pick up the new way? Do you want to stop running on that treadmill over there and start to pick up something that you can actually, that is going to give one some nutritional value? Like, is that possible for one to do, as opposed to now still running over there? But again, that goes back to, can you see it, right? Do you recognize what's right in front of you?
I'm reading the comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they say I see it right here. It says they wear those chokers because they're bragging and attract chain snatchers. Chokers are harder to grab.
Bruh, like remember when dudes getting their chain snatcher? And but it sort of remind me what you was talking about them wolves, you get your chain snatched, then what? You don't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, you don't have that in itself shows that you don't have situational awareness to know you ain't supposed to be really doing that. You know what I'm saying? You don't even see rich people do that. You know what I'm saying? With greater resources and like say finer education and good and good healthcare. You don't see them do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them be flashy at all. Shoot, even in criminal organizations, at least in the early starts of La Cosa Nostra, the main thing is to not be flashy. Don't be flashy. Live, live like you within your means. You know what I'm saying? That way you don't get hung up for tax evasion, or you ain't getting cited by the feds. You know what I'm talking about? But then when you want to be Dapper Don and whatnot, wear tailor-made suits, and you flashing your reins and everything. Now you getting the case put on you, But yeah, like.
And even in this line, it says genuine healthcare, right? And I want to vibe with that for a second, because even if we look at genuine healthcare, one might look at grandma and said, take this castor oil. One might look at, Sister Morea. Like, I know she got all of this different stuff that she offers, but I need to go to the hospital, right? And I'm not saying that there's certainly times one might need Western a hospital or whatever the case. But right?
Yeah.
But there's a point though where now you look at anything that your grandma did or anything that the family did, that this is what we do now to overcome a sickness, to overcome a cold, to overcome anything of that nature. Now that's all just pushed to the side because now I need to now go see the doctor. That's what I need. I need that because everything that you're talking about is null and void, right? And I'm not, and make this very clear. I'm not going to say that there's not some times when one probably needs to get a checkup, whatever the case may be, because I don't want somebody to be like, "Well, hey, you right? I'm throwing all these meds out, and I'm going to do it." That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, when one has a community, now they have certain things that they do and certain things that they lean on, especially for that group. And then when you remove that, now all of a sudden you're just walking into a place where it's ultimately just a guessing game, where it's like, well, all right, take 2 of these and then call me tomorrow. If it don't work, it didn't work, all right, try these then. All right, try these then. Whereas now, if you really are coming from a community of not from a sense of lack and an impoverished place, where now it's like, you know what? I can go down the street and I can talk to Sister Maria. She gonna hook us up with that. I can go down the street and I'll talk to Brother Lowe. He gonna tell me something about this, you know. And it's always just now in a community where people are flourishing that with information, with like knowledge of self, that this is how we do things, as opposed to stepping outside of oneself and trying to go get the needs met from somebody else, which now ultimately opens yourself up to the machinations of that said community.
Yeah, man. It made me think of when I cut my eye, right? Like open gash, you know, and I'm bleeding all over, bleeding all over everywhere, right? And you know, I don't remember much, but my grandmother, you know, said, "Bring them to me," and she stitched me up with Band-Aids. We didn't go to now. Literally, when you see that much blood, it was so much blood that, you know, my mom couldn't wear a dress no more. But it was, you know, you would think they would have took me to the hospital. No, they just took me to my grandma. They took me to my grandmother. She fixed me up. She fixed me up with just some Band-Aids. I didn't need no sewing, no stitching, no nothing, which I probably, if I went to the hospital, that's probably what they gave me, you know. But nah, she just hooked me up with two Band-Aids. I don't know what else. I should ask him. But and that was it. You know, she had some remedies. You know, she showed up had some remedies. You know, I did always need a pill. She always had something. You know, some countrified. You know, that took away the sickness. You know what I'm saying? Some natural. You know, but yeah, we go away from those natural things that can help or heal us, to something that is made by people or culture that really don't have our best interests at heart. You know what I'm saying? Or just look at it as or look at you as just catching a lick, getting your money. You know what I'm saying? Here's this hospital bill you gotta pay. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna pay for it? You know? Oh, that IV drip? That's $500 a pop, son. You know?
A drop.
A drop. You know?
No, looking at it, I disconnect me now, man. I'm
yeah,
all
disconnect.
right.
I'm okay. You
Yeah.
know. So, but it's just not that though. I mean, you can, like we say, we can take it to that. We can even take it to body modifications. You know, nobody wants to look like their natural selves. Now, everybody wants to go to I can't say it, but we just gonna say Mattel. We just gonna say Mattel. You know, KB Toy Stores. You know, whatever. You know. But yeah, that too. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a standard of so-called beauty. Even if it's not their own natural beauty, they're copying somebody else that probably looks like you, but they fail at it, so they have to use injections or whatever, and it, you know, it can kill you. You know what I'm talking about, but you're gonna do it anyway. You know, right. Because you know, you got to look a certain way, you know.
Because pain is beauty.
Pain is beauty, you know what I'm
Right?
saying?
Yeah. And even in that sense, it started even making me think of Avatar a little bit, and making one holistically healthy. And when one is holistically healthy, they're not trying to bully the environment that is around them. They are working with the environment that is around them. On not only working with that environment, that environment now is healing them as well. So it even goes into a sense of an Eastern philosophy and a Western philosophy, right? Where Western philosophy will say, the more I know, then the wiser that I am, right? And I think Chief said this, it might be this quote, and makes one more now even arrogant and egotistical, because look at how much I know. Whereas the Eastern philosophy starts to say, the more that I know nothing about anything going on around me, because it's going to make one practice humility and open them up to everything that is going on around them. Not trying to say or shut things down into what it has to be. And even in that show was when Jake Sully came over there and was speaking to the group. It was like, we don't let y'all in here no more because it's hard to pour into a cup that's already
full or got a hole in it.
And if this cup you think is already full, which there's so many ways we can go with that, because even in the sense when people come over here and then they try to, well, I'm gonna learn a little bit from my new, but then I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna study this, or I came from this different system. You think you know something, but you don't really have it. And if you don't really have it, are you willing to practice humility? And that even came when he was talking about, and there's something to be said when somebody can study from one system, somebody can study from one teacher, when somebody can come from one frame of thought. Now you're starting to fill yourself up. Now you start to see that the more I learn about one thing, the more I learn about all things, because all things are connected. So then now you start to see, hold on now, I don't need to go jumping and running over here, because now I feel like now I'm impoverished, or I'm coming from a lack if I just learn from one person. I got to learn from over here. I got to learn from over here. I'm going to post this video because this person said something real fly. So I'm going to throw that here in the chat and y'all look at this too. No, I'm going to learn and I'm going to devote myself to everything that's being put in front of me. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh yeah, I got that. What else you got? You don't have it. You don't have it. But that's again coming from that impoverished mindset of, no, I feel like if I stay here, or if I only learn from it, or if I submit to something, then maybe I won't be seen as what I think I'm going to be seen as, or whatever the case may be. So now I have to go get it from all these different places to make me feel like I'm doing this myself. Right? I'm looking at me, how smart I am, how wise I am. Even though when I'm talking, I'm looking at the computer and trying to look this stuff up as soon as y'all say it. But no, I'm not going to humble myself and practice no humility or come from a place of learning, but I'm just going to come from a place of ego. I'm going to come from a place of arrogance, and I'm going to come from, look how much I can learn, because as much as I can learn, and that's as wise I am. I'm going to come from a Western philosophy. And it just thought that flowed in there too. Did you want to add something before I go on?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of ego tripping, not a lot of ego checking. You know what I'm talking about?
Come on.
It's a lot of ego tripping, not a lot of ego checking. Whereas, like you were talking, you're not humble. You know what I'm saying? And you're not grateful for what's been poured into you or brought out of you. You know what I'm saying? You think you did it all by yourself. You know what I'm talking about. And you're not checking yourself and being humble and saying thank you for seeing something in me, or thank you for doing this for me when you didn't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? You brought me out of, this and that, and you didn't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? And showing appreciation. Like Chief would say, there's people that would quote his books or whatever, but they don't give him the credit. You know what I'm talking
about? Yeah, because you can't figure me out now, because if by any means that you see that I'm not the smartest one in the room, now all of a sudden you would say my ego is not being stroked in that particular moment. I can't feel like I'm on high. So guess what? I'm gonna just keep coming with all of this outside stuff that I found and post it. Here you go. Look at this. Look what I did. I found this and I found this. Nah, man.
I'm
Nah.
gonna post this on Facebook. Everybody
Just
don't think I'm smart.
Relax. All right. So it says poverty outweighs the burden of many curses because it saturates a person down through the bone. And I think even we've been like that mindset will saturate somebody to the point where they can't see anything that's in front of them. No matter if you're like, it's like that scene in Happy Feet where I don't know if you ever saw this. It's one of my favorite movies.
Bruh, how you think I got the? How you think I got the name? Well, first she watched it and then she saw me. It was like, oh, you know.
Yo, okay, cool. So then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So you remember when he was going to get he was trying to figure out who was taking the fish, and then as he's standing there trying to have a conversation, and people are looking through the window, and he's like, "Why are you taking our fish?" Right, and he's saying that as plain as day. And they're coming from it. He's like, "Why are you taking our fish?" They flip the camera though, and all the other person hears is, "Wah, wah." That's all they could hear.
That's all they could hear.
When somebody is coming from an impoverished mindset that
mind
has
you, he's in the zoo.
Say that again.
Said, mind you, he's in the zoo. Give better context.
That has saturated.
And he's from the wild.
That has saturated themselves to the bone. Right. You're absolutely right. And you are having a conversation with that person. All they hear is wah, wah, and then a buzzword will pop up. Wah, nigga. Who you calling it? Did you not hear anything that I said? Wah, wah, chicken head. Who you calling a chicken head? No. What are you talking about right now? They then begin to choose in that moment to be offended. I'm offended that you are even and talking to me. That's like that. What's that? It was a joke that he made. He was like, "You using a lot of words that I don't understand, and I'm gonna take it as a sign of disrespect, right?" So now somebody that has been saturated to the point that now you may have a simple conversation and you might be talking and be like, "Oh, you trying to down me? You trying to clown me? You trying to come at me? You trying to come for me?" What? That has saturated them to the bone now. It's like, nah, man, come on.
You tell a person you're scantily clad and you look like a woman of the night, and then they'll turn around and say, "You're trying to essay me."
And there's certain words that will keep you off of them. So now if I use these certain words, it's supposed to now there's buzzwords to now back up though. Because if you keep going, then it makes it seem like, oh, you're just insensitive or you don't care. And they know it can shut a conversation down. So it's like, all right, well, you know what? Thank you. And that's even knowing, and that goes even to the other person who's on the other side of that, who now needs to know where they are when they start sharing certain information, right? So now some people, they don't want to hear it. So, okay, you know what? Thank you for letting me say my little piece, but this is not the right place and time, so I'm going to keep it rolling. Yeah, so, yeah. All right, you got cheap tears. All they hear is I'm wrong, and that is a reality I will never accept. And you know what? The interesting thing is, it is running rampant of a victim mentality that I don't know how I got into this situation. These people did this to me, not knowing that people work hard for their situations. They work hard for it. But as soon as one starts to point some things out that, you know what, you went left when you probably should have went right. Are you saying this is my fault? Are you saying I'm just a victim in all of this? look, do you want to grow from this, or do you want to stay stuck in this impoverished mindset and you keep wondering why all these things keep happening to you? And that's even in the show of, do you want to raise above the cause and effect, or do you want to stay stuck in that cause and effect and you feeling like, oh no, but this is, I ain't have no control over anything, and this, y'all believe this? I just had the poor. If I ain't wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all, man.
Man, it reminds me of like that end part in Dead Presidents, where he finally gets locked up and he's before the judge and he's like, sir, I just had to do what I had to do to survive. You know what I'm saying? And then just like, well, that doesn't matter, especially about you being a Marine and everything, all this service, don't matter. You know better. You're going to jail. You know what I'm saying? He's like, what do you mean? Everything I done did? Everything I did? He did it. He just riles up, man. He's like, for real. But, yeah, people like to play the victim mindset, and if you speak on it or judge them, you hurt their feelings. You shame them or whatever. And because you did that, they'll probably have to wage war on you. Thus, you get canceled or whatever. They can't beat you in a fight, but they can cancel you. With passive aggressiveness. But they want to stay in this victim mindset where they can forever be a victim of circumstance. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to get out of the mud or the quicksand themselves. They just want to stay there and not move. But don't move. I can't sink any lower.
Right.
Right. But yeah.
Look at all this stuff is just happening to me, man. I didn't do anything. I just stood here. That's all. After you've done all you can, you just stand. That's all I did. I just stood here. I ain't moving forward. I ain't moving backwards. I ain't doing nothing. And durationalism begins to take them over. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to just wait. And I'm going to wait. And I'm going to wait. On what? Get up. There was I went whitewater rafting one time. And
that's fun.
Yo, it was, right? And we going down, and one of the person that was in the boat, he flipped out, right? And when he flipped out, you could see he was freaking out. Like every instinct kicked in of him just to fight or flight, and he just held on to this rock, and he was like, "Come get me! Come get me!" He yelling, right? And my man,
I wouldn't head onto that rock, because hit and break bone.
But here, check this out. My man said, "Stand up." He stood up. It wasn't even that deep. But again, I'm looking at that in the sense of when even people are coming from an impoverished mindset, and somebody will come along and they'll be like, "Stand up, read this annuity." All right, but they're kicking and screaming, feeling like, "But I have to survive. But I'm gonna die if I don't do this and I don't do that." No, you'll be all right. Stand up.
And another point is when you have to take direction, especially when you whitewater rafting, because I did full course. I did full course. I was a beginner, and to me, it was very important that I paid attention to what the navigator was saying. That basically the one that was holding the oar, and the paddle when he said paddle, because I'm looking at like my other friends that was in the other raft, and they struggling, but here we are, we get it. He said paddle. Yeah, I am. and we had the most fun because we listened and we did what we were supposed to do. We didn't tip over, you know what I'm saying? Because we couldn't stand up. That water was kind of deep, but we didn't tip over. But we just had fun, just going along for the ride. Listening and going along for the ride, but if you ain't paying attention and you just doing what you want to, you ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You ain't able to ride that water. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah.
Right. You're going to get yourself hurt. All right. I think I got back on some of these comments. All right. She says, or I want to steal my girlfriend's wife and scent panderers away from the source of my wisdom, because my insecurity can't take the subsequent loss of attention and adoration. Yo, you smell something? You smell something?
I smell.
I knew I smelled something, man. These punk mother.
I
Head like a
mean,
rocket, stick your finger in a socket. Oh man. All right, we got Sovereign Eats says impoverished are vulnerable to the schemes, including fraudulent claims about medical procedures and pharmaceuticals, and then a decade later they have to deal with the side effects. Let me tell you something. You're gonna deal with the consequences of your actions or your inactions. You're gonna deal with it. It may be today, it may not be tomorrow, but you're gonna deal with that, and you will answer for that.
go and get a return on your
Willfully, you
investment.
have a great answer. You have a great answer. Man, the 40. That's exactly what it was. Thank you, Chief. The 40-year-old virgin when that movie that my man was in. All right. If you refuse to comply with the totality of the victim narrative, you will immediately be told you are no different than the victimizer. You're insensitive, you're domineering, you're controlling, you're chauvinistic, you're misogynistic, you're all of these. You're going to be everything under the sun. And if you do not have the one in front of all of those numbers, you can fall susceptible to that, of starting to now second guess maybe I am a little off. And some people, maybe they could be, but that's that show what Chief did with that yin and that yang, of now having that balance between the two, and not one now pushing one so far where it's like toxic masculinity, and the other one pushing so far to the other side where it's toxic femininity. Right? So now, does one start to have that balance? And when one can come from that balance or that 0 point, then it's not a matter of, I know you throwing rocks at the throne, man. Whatever. Either you could put the seed in your pocket, or you could put the seed in the ground. I don't care either way. I won't care either way. But don't say you didn't get it. And you can stay there again. You can stand up and move, or you can choose. That's a choice. Or you can choose to sit there and be a victim.
Those who will not live by the law shall die by the law. But you saw when he read the dang on 10 Commandments, everybody started running out the way.
Oh man, my Atlanta. All right, it says Master Menelek says the game they play is directed at bystanders, real or imaginary. They don't try to engage directly. It all comes down to who appears to be the most emotionally distraught. And then we trauma bond. Do you know what he did? You know, Lowe did the same thing to me, girl. He ain't, oh yeah, well, let me tell you. Hey, here we go. Can't nobody be like, nah, you know what, I'm not going to get involved with any of that. I'm going to move on. Nope. I'm just going to jump right into all this garbage. All right. Sister Deidre, yes, cancel culture is a tool to keep people stuck in a poverty mindset. It diverts attention from what needs to be transformed. Let's take a note page from Sister Maria. This is true. This is true. All right. All right. Here we go. Chi says, it's like being told to follow someone so they can make you fishers of men. You leave the trade of fishing for physical food to go learn a discipline that will make you a master of souls. Yo, I'm telling you, King of examples, right? King,
Sure.
he's undefeated. Undefeated. Follow someone so they can make you a fisher of men, right? If now I'm telling you, I'm gonna upgrade you. I'm gonna upgrade you, man. But I can't give you what's necessary until you let go of what's in your hand. There is an abundance over here. I'm telling you, just come on, walk towards me. Because if I let go of what I have right now, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna be different. And I would rather dance with the devil I know than the one that I don't know. At least I know what to expect. I know what type of pain that I'm gonna have to endure with this right here. But you telling me to go over there, I can't deal with that now. You know, I've been through so much, and we just been through so much heartache. Like it's best that we stay here and you go, and then charge me for the class a year later and telling me how I did it, and then I pay you $49.95 or whatever the case may be. It's like
that's just out of my comfort zone.
Right. Even though, but then we'll post on an IG or something saying you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You got to push it to your limit. You got to do all of this. But meanwhile, you ain't doing nothing now. You ain't making no moves, though. Come on. At any rate, and Yeshua said unto them, "Come ye after me, and I will make you to become fishers of men." Can you hear that? See, no, but that's I guess like when some people will talk, and you'll know there's something different.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't that's that old, what it say, my sheep hear my voice. They come running to me, running to me. Like you gonna hear that voice, and you gonna know, let's move. Let's move. It's something about the tone in this that resonates and hits a chord that's in me that's now saying, even though I know this person is far beyond, but it's time to move. And I'm going to move. I'm not going to stay stuck, and I'm not going to try to bully my environment. I'm not going to try to do my own thing. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you know, or when, what's my man say, let's go up north. We can get up out of here. Type of cotton. Ain't no cotton for us to pick up there. Ain't nothing for us to do up there. Why I want to go over there? Look, let's go. But then you see what happened to him. He got his foot cut off trying to save somebody who had an improper mindset.
I'm too old and it's too cold.
He like, yo, come on, man. Come on, man. At any rate. So I'm gonna go. Do you want to ask something, or I'm gonna go?
No, bro, you can keep on going, because I mean, it writes itself.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. All right. So it says, well, hold on. Let me read. Chief says, real warriors and healers are not made in comfort. They are made when surrounded by doubt and have one silent option to do or not. But either choice will bring struggle and pain. You better, forge through fire. That's that celestial ember that is like that fire that might be too hot for something, but you know what? It's burning now. And you're going to be forged through that fire, so you just ain't jaw-japping. So it ain't like when you actually are speaking, it resonates with a different vibration than somebody who just now read something in a book and now is just regurgitating it and giving it to somebody and say, yeah, you should do this, this, and this. But did you do it though? Did you implement this stuff though? Or did you just write this in a book and then I go do it, now all of a sudden I get locked up and then I can't call you because you told me this is how I foreclose on empty vacant lots?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're moving on. All right. So within the law code of Anu, the removal of poverty is non-negotiable. Go ahead. What do you, when you hear that, what do you think? I love it.
Well, you don't negotiate with poverty. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it's a deal breaker. It's a no-go. You know what I'm talking about? It's something that you don't put up with. You don't put up with being in poverty and impoverished. That's what I think of.
And it makes me think of how many times have you asked somebody, even when we're talking to it, and they want to come into Anu, or they want to, did you read the Anu way?
I read. I ain't gonna put nobody on blast. Yeah, I read it. I read it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so much information though. Like it's just a lot. Okay, what piece is a lot? Like the whole thing. The whole thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like, here we go. Here we go. But you can't. Okay, you cannot stay there though. Stay there. You cannot keep showing up with a impoverished mindset of just showing up to the table with a empty plate and a fork and expecting somebody to keep now putting something on your plate. No. What do you know what? This is what, when I was digging into this and then I started cross-referencing and I started doing some other things with the 14 keys, and then I came back over here to the solutions for dysfunctional family, and then I came back over here, like, this is, I got something like this, right? Now, okay, now we're removing the garbage. Now we're removing all of the gears of maybe what somebody has been pouring in, and now we're starting to fill it with something else, right? That's that whole process of unlearn to relearn. Can one now start to relearn and fill themselves back up and remove themselves from that poverty of, you know what, I'm just going to be complacent and somehow my credit's just going to get fixed. Somehow my rent's just going to get paid. I don't know. You know, I walked outside and there was $100 rolling. Thank you, Lord. I just knew it was going to get done.
Just hold on a little longer. You know, just hold on.
Are you taking control? I mean, that's a whole thing Chief is doing now in our new room. Is, you know, how are you investing? How are you taking care of your money? How are you cannot stay in poverty. You cannot have a poverty mindset. That is not going to work here. Get up. Get up. Yeah, it's going to be some work. Yeah, you can't watch your certain TV shows and waste away your time that you maybe once did. You're going to now have to start to put in work, because that's not fair to the people coming behind you. It's not fair, man. And if somebody is going to spend this time to pour into you, you better make dang sure well that you are receiving what is being put in front of you, just like you said, of being in that boat with your oar and listening, going for the ride, so that now when somebody comes after you, you're able to pour into them. It's not acceptable to stay with a poverty mindset. We got Emma Quia says, makes me think of failure not being an option. Get up. Get up. Right, Masterman, I skimmed it. I looked through it.
I read the cliff notes.
I got it. Yeah, I got that. Chief says, anyone comfortable with poverty has a multitude of ideas with no plans and will eventually add to the wealth of their overlord by being a happy slave. Talk about it.
What's that, boss?
Like,
we see,
because even in the sense of your ideas are that, and that was another thing that we talked. I think that was in the education piece. Was even like your IP, your intellectual property, that you have all of these ideas, but then ultimately you just give it away. Give it away. Ooh, give it away. That's the Shy Lights, man. What's the sing, give it. Y'all don't know that. Y'all don't know
yeah,
that.
but one of the popular songs. I don't know that part of Shy Lights, but
gosh.
That's the B-side. B-side.
You giving it away. You not actually are looking out for your own community and said those coming after you. It's just, you know what? I'm happy that I'm able to now be locked away in this cubicle. And now, because I'm in this cubicle and I can order, and they got all of these different refreshments as soon as I walk out of here, and all of these candies and this big refrigerator, and man, look at all of this stuff. I don't even have to leave this campus anymore, because everything that I need, I can live on campus and I don't have to commute anymore, and I'm right here, and everything that you have is right in front of me. And I'm just going to now give away everything that I have for that sandwich. I thought I'd fix myself a sandwich. Yeah. All right. He said, oh man. All right. So you got you can stay in poverty, but you can't be around me in my community. We want our new spinner medallions and things. They still spinning.
I'm riding spinners. I'm riding spinners.
Oh man. And impoverished mind will cannibalism, the sharpness of those around them. That's that one bad apple can spoil the bunch.
Yeah. What about 300?
Yeah, it can spoil the bunch. Oh man, peanut butter, but no jam. Hey, Master Middle, I know you. Okay, you understood what I was saying. You understood what I was saying. All right, here we go. Let's jump back into it. So we got I lost the page.
Within the law code.
I just read that.
Oh no, we are obligated.
Okay, cool. We are obligated to remove the curse of poverty from our homes, which kind of just went into what we just said. Like that obligation is now you're gonna have to dig in. You have to dig your heels in, and you're gonna have to study, and you're gonna have to give, and you have to. It ain't just sitting back and you sitting up there and talking about, oh man, that chief, he really good at what he do, man. Y'all just look at it. No, you're gonna put that work in. All right, you're gonna work on it with knowledge itself. That one, and then the one just doesn't happen to fall there, and even in it was like it's not you don't just do that overnight. It may not be a strong thing, it may not be coming a month, it may not come in a year, but you're gonna work your tail off. You know what? Because I'm not staying here. I knew it's a bloodline, and that one is gonna anchor you like a tree, and the tree now has to have those roots. Are you rooted in who and what you are and the foundation of the community of now the words have now changed you down to a molecular level where you are just your whole vibration, so that when your chord and your pitch of when you talk now starts to be in harmony with the rest of the group. And I was like, oh, I know what this person is about. Yeah, I know what that is. I don't think I've ever seen Yolanda Adams.
Yeah, you were the only one that thought that.
I'm just joking. I kid. All right. How did you get here?
That is Deborah Cox. What is you doing?
Oh, that is
Deborah Cox. What is you? No. Yolanda Adams is a gospel singer. You be a singer, man.
Hey, I thought it was.
No, right, that is Deborah Cox, bro. She from Canada.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all right. It says, in my opinion, poverty is a choice some were born into. So with that, they don't have a choice, but some point in one's life, you'll have the tool to divert it for mentally and physically. Okay. All right. Master Menelik says, true chief. People will latch on to anything and anyone they can to survive. Having people with a poverty mindset around is like trying to save someone who can't swim. Yo. And you jump in and they just flailing and flipping and dipping and all of this other kind of stuff and knock you out. Next thing you know, both of y'all drown.
Mm-hmm. Holding on to you. Don't know what to do. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Here we go. Wrong track.
Wrong track, bro. Like really,
yeah,
bro.
Right.
Wrong track, wrong genre. Wrong woman, bro. You got the wrong woman, bro.
All right. That's all right. I told you, my fault, your mistake. It'll be all right. Peace. All right, peace. All righty then. All right, last line is we are an impoverished home is an unprotected one. And that even goes back to, I think, even the beginning of the line when it says impoverished people are also highly vulnerable to the machinations of individuals who are wealthier than they are. Now let's read the last line. An impoverished home is an unprotected one. You are susceptible to the machinations of other individuals who are wealthier than you are. right? So now it's unprotected. There is no guardian of the gate of your mind that somebody now can come along and say flim flam, something, something, and then you fall for it because you don't know any better. Oh yeah, that sounds good. And now all of a sudden you're a victim. Are you a victim, or did you just skip the steps that were put in front of you that you didn't want to put in the work? And if you're willing to put in the work, and if you're willing to ground yourself, and you're willing to root yourself, and to really now have that one be anchored into the ground, now it's like now you're protecting the homestead in the gateway of your mind.
Yeah, man. I would add to it, like, you, man, like, if you look around, you see, people's houses, tells you a lot about them. The grass ain't cut, gutters all hanging off, and just looks all dilapidated, and you just look at it like, man, that's literally an unprotected house. They don't have a pride in ownership. That's a big thing for me, man. Like, I look at it, I'm like, man, y'all don't have pride in ownership. Y'all don't do like nothing. Don't put no, something, to make your homestead look livable, and and defendable. You know what I'm saying? Even on the outside, like she was talking about the rose gardens, and how that was a defensive mechanism, but you just think it's pretty, but that's really for defense, things like that, but yeah, an impoverished household is an unprotected one, and people see that, and when they see that, then they know, hey, I can go into that house because it's unprotected, it's uncovered. Wink. Wink, wink. It's uncovered. Therefore, storm the gates. We can lay siege to the city.
Yo. So now it's like, do you want to work? Do you want to work, man? And it's very simple. It's very simple. It said, we spoke about Yolanda at the last council meeting. Some folks were.
We did.
Hey.
We did.
Who was in Miami? Who was in Miami?
We did speak of her.
Who was in Miami? Oh man! All right, Master Middlex says, "Peace." I don't know how. What?
Can you do it? Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm hitting it, and it was doing that. The steps, knowledge, applied knowledge being wisdom, wisdom bringing wealth. Not having the will to pursue wisdom leaves you vulnerable out here. Come on. You gotta move, man. Like you gotta want it. You gotta want it. You gotta want that. Like at some point, you gotta get. What's that say? You get sick and tired of just being sick and tired.
Sick and tired.
Like, are you sick and tired of just looking out your window and seeing that you are the laughing stock? You and your group are the laughing stock, and at the bottom of the barrel. If someone's like, I'm going to take the initiative to reclaim. We take the initiative it starts with me, and protecting this homestead and building this homestead. It's going to start with me about building anew, building my whole mind frame and my whole mindset anew. Am I willing to do that, or am I just going to now be susceptible to whatever goes on around me? Am I willing to now put that banana peel to have it covered, or am I going to unpeel myself and be susceptible to however the wind blows? And I'm still trying to cry out and being, oh, this happened to me, and this happened to me, and we just trying to get by, or things that I used to say, I'm just keeping my head above water, brother. That's all we can do out here.
You can temporary laid up good times. You gonna see those out.
A house like that will have Dog the Bounty Hunter banging on the door at any moment, talking about, come on out, brother. Jesus loves you, man.
Yo, man. Yo, it happens, man. Like, for
Yeah.
real, it happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Broken down vehicles in the yard is another sign, Akilo.
Well,
Uh-oh. Come on.
I
Got 3 of
mean,
them parked down front now.
it depends. It depends, because being down south, you got those that just ride up, because they really don't got a yard anyway. It's just an open field, so they just ride up to the car. But if it's a rusted, car that ain't moving, and it's just been there, got leaves all piled up, and got dang on look. Got the windows open and raccoons are living in it. Yeah.
Some of this, man. Here's some of this. Hold on. Master Metalec says Jesus loves you.
Yes,
This I know.
Yeah.
For the Bible tells
me so. Did it really though? You don't really read that. It's all about me.
Oh man. There you go. All right. Say you brothers need the greatest hits album. Come on. He said Low got a deuce in a quarter in the yard on cinder blocks. He goes out there to listen to Pimp C and Project Pat.
First off, I do not have no dang on deuce in a quarter in the yard. If I had anything, it would be probably a Cutlass. And yes, I would be playing Pimp C, but I would not be playing Project Pat. I maybe bumping, A-Ball MJG, what I'm talking about, Memphis 10, or I probably, sad to say, I probably bumping that Boosie. I probably bumping Lil Boosie. just showing my, probably doing that. But I refuse. Look, I ain't bumped Project Pat since junior high. Thank you very much. So that was it. But yes, I will be bumping that Pimp C hard.
Ready. All right. He said, shrubs growing out the front hood. Yeah, you gotta get some of them. I've been around people who got like a whole car fleet. Some of them ain't got no rims. It's like, man, take some of this. And move it somewhere, man. Just move it somewhere now. Sorry, he says raccoons.
Yeah, like
raccoons.
You mean okay? Well, maybe that was just where I was. But yes, that freaked me out when I saw. I was like, what the? But hey, yo,
no tires, but the speakers bumping. That's that subwoofer back there too.
I got 215s.
Oh man! All right, well, we have come to the end. You have any parting words, Akilo, before we get up out of here?
Let's see. Poverty, is the plague, man, and you probably gonna have to take vaccinations, whatever, to get out of that space. You know what I'm saying? It can be done, but you're gonna have to work, you're gonna have to swim, you're gonna have to paddle, you're gonna have to row, if you want to get out of it, you know what I'm talking about? But you can't stay there, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're susceptible to everything and anything, you know what I'm saying? And that makes you dangerous, you know what I'm saying? That makes you dangerous, when you allow anything and everything to come towards you and not protect yourself. Like they say, you got to protect yourself at all times. So, right. Even when it comes to, not being in poverty, you got to protect yourself at all times. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that, keep your guard up. Keep your guard up, your chin down, you know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna close out. Says
All
Chief
right.
says, I would say no one is born into poverty. Poverty is a programmable state of mind. How many times do you hear interviews by those who made it citing they grew up poor but didn't know it? And that even the more I just keep even thinking about the one and just the one bringing value to everything that comes behind it. And when one now has knowledge of self, now all of a sudden you can stand at the gateway, like it says in the grasping the root of divine power. And I'm paraphrasing, but standing like a tireless sentinel at the gateway, guarding our mind. And when one starts to know who and what they are, you don't just let anything in. You don't. There's that old thing. There was another thing that Tifa did was saying that the mind doesn't know what's real from what's fake. It processes everything as real. And knowing that something is being processed as real, now one is very careful of what they let in. Because what they let in starts to attach itself to them. And it even says, like it says in here, poverty starts to saturate one to the bone. And now they're overcome by these thoughts again that says, yeah, you are less than, you don't have, you are come from lack, or somebody saying that, yeah, I came from poverty, but I didn't know it. Well, then who told you? Just like when they were in the garden and all of a sudden they ran and hid because, or wouldn't that, right? You can't see me. Who told you that?
Mm-hmm.
Who told you that? And because now you did that, now something had to be sacrificed in order to now clothe you, right? So now instead of being obedient to the law, you want to do your own thing, and now something else has to give its life up because one wants to now go do their own thing. Are you willing to now get in alignment? Are you willing to now ground yourself and root yourself in one system, in one nature, in one line of thought, so you can become the one? Neo. Yeah, Neo. All right. So, with that being said, if you don't have anything else,
Oh, I just saw what Master Mingula said, and I mean, you gotta not negotiate with poverty like you don't negotiate with terrorists. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you start negotiating, then you open yourself up to give up anything and anything that they want. You know what I'm talking about? The same thing with poverty. You know what I'm talking about? If you are willing to negotiate with it, you know what I'm saying? It's just gonna keep on asking for stuff. You know what I'm saying? Give me this, give me that, give me that. You already put yourself in a position of weakness, you know what I'm saying, not a position of power. So you don't negotiate with terrorists, just like you don't negotiate with poverty. But I don't know.
that's what's that song where they say no agreement today and no agreement tomorrow.
By Fela Kuti.
There you go. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, man, thank you all for joining. Peace, Sister Yolanda. All right.
Peace, Sister Yolanda.
Yeah.
Already.
If there's, sorry. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the rest of your night, your evening. And I'll see some of y'all in the call tomorrow where we'll chop it up and do this one more time. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll also be Sunday. Do not forget, we will be on Clubhouse. 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Pacific. We'll be chopping it up, man. Come on through.
And don't forget, DJ Shmoney.
Oh, that's right. What time does she go on?
I want to say 9.
It'd
be in the dawning. 9 a.m. Eastern, or is it 8 a.m. Eastern?
Y'all look out for that. Like, follow, subscribe. You know all of that good stuff. And really keep it rocking. All right, but she and she be banging on there too. So
It's 9 a.m. Eastern.
Eastern Standard Time, right? So it's like 3 a.m. Pacific time. She's like getting googly moogly. She be vibing on that joint. I gotta catch the let out. I can't get in, but I catch the let out when everybody coming. I'm with the spinners out there. Yeah, already.
Yeah, sure.
All right, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll see you when we see you.
All right.
See you.
Peace.